Good day, everyone. I am Mr. Rodgie Optional, ABS at Science 2 student, and I am your reporter for today's video. In this video presentation, I am going to discuss and explore my assigned topic, which is related of this course, the Anatomy and Physiology for Teachers. In this discussion, I will discuss some important information related to science of this course. And I am going also to explore this topic which is very interesting about human process survival. In this discussion, I would like to inform everybody that based on my assigned topic of this course, I will only discuss about the given content. And aside from, since the topic is very broad in extension, I would like to inform everyone that I am not going to discuss deeply about this topic, which is I focus only the given content on me. And now, are you now ready to learn again and explore about this topic? If you are now ready, hold on yourself. Let's tour about the wonder of science related with this course. Without any further ado, let's get started for our discussion today. So, our topic it's all about the respiratory system. So some of you all I know all of you know about the respiratory system. Because not just one time, second time, but many times we encountered this topic, especially when we are studying in elementary. We discussed this until we reached high school or secondary. We also discussed this about, and until now, tertiary level, which is college. We also discussed this one. Guessing your mind, why why science? Why respiratory system? Bakit palagi nating dinidiscuss ito? No? For us, especially us, we are BS and science students. The main reason why we have to refresh our minds and discuss again and again so that malalaman natin yung mga hindi pa natin lubos na nalalaman sa isang sa discussion na ito. That's why very important the science students to explore about this topic in order to um, set our mind that para naman sa ganon is yung mga nakalimutan natin na mga hindi natin na ano natin sa nung una, syempre ma-refresh sa ngayon. So now, so in this topic, before we discussed about our deeply or jump our discussion for today, so this topic is for the anatomy and physiology for teachers and discussed by Mr. Optional Rodgie. And the content of this course, and I would like to remind everybody that this is a chapter 17, which is the respiratory system. The first content is explain the function of the respiratory system. The second one, name the organs of the system. And the third one, define the parts of the internal nose under function. And the fourth one, name the three areas of the larynx and explain their anatomy. And the fourth one, uh, name the areas of the pharynx and explain their anatomy. And the fifth one, name the cartilages and membranes of the larynx and how they function. And the sixth one, explain how the anatomy of the trachea prevents collapse during breathing and allows for esophageal expansion during swallowing. And the seventh one, explain what is meant by the term bronchial tree. And the eighth one, describe the structure and function of the lungs and flora. And the ninth one, describe the overall process of the gas exchange in the lungs and tissues. And the 10th one, define ventilation, external respiration, and internal respiration. Before I discuss what is the first content or what are the function of the respiratory system, let us first define what is respiratory system. Respiratory system is the network of organs and tissues that help you breathe rather. This system helps your body absorb oxygen from the air so your organs can work. So it simply means na ang respiratory system raw ay isang network na sa mga organs and tissues na tumutulong para humihinga ka. Ang system na ito ay tumutulong na mag-absorb ng oxygen para yung mga organs mo na nasa loob ay para makapag-function sila or para makapag-work. So in a simply means, ang respiratory system ay isang sistema na tumutulong para mag-absorb ng hangin para tumutulong sa ating paggalaw. So yun ang ibig sabihin ng respiratory system. So now, first content, explain the function of the respiratory system. So, a respiratory system has many functions besides helping you inhale or breathe in and exhale, breathe out it. First is allows you to talk and to smell. So isa ito sa pinaka-basic na function ng respiratory system na tayo ay makapagsalita at tayo ay makapaghinga. And the second one, warms air to match your body temperature and moisturize to it to your humidity level for your body needs. So, ibig sabihin, isa din ito sa paraan, isa din ito sa function ng respiratory system is yung makapagbibigay ng body temperature sa atin. That's why, di ba, humihinga tayo, is syempre, mainit yung tao kasi buhay siya. That's why, isa yun to sa nagbibigay ng level of your body needs. And the third one, delivers oxygen to the cell in your body. So, it is very precise na ang dinideliver ng ang function ng respiratory system is nagde-deliver ng oxygen para sa ating katawan. And the fourth one, removes waste gases including carbon dioxide from the body when you exhale. So, ibig sabihin rin, yung mga carbon dioxide na or mga maruming hininga natin na nilalabas natin isa din ito sa function ng respiratory system. And fifth one, protects your airways from harmful substances and irritants. So isa rin sa mga function ng respiratory system is nagpo-protect siya sa ating daanan ng hangin para hindi tayo yung mayroong mga iba yung mga sinisimot natin na hindi pala siya nakakatulong para sa ating health. So the main function of the respiratory system is helps your body absorb oxygen from the air so your organs can work. So ito yung pinaka-main function ng respiratory system na tumutulong sa ating katawan na mag-absorb ng oxygen na para makakapaggalaw or makapag-work yung ating mga different organs sa ating katawan. So yun ang first content na the functions of the respiratory system. So now, the second is name the organs of the respiratory system. So the respiratory system is made up of the organs included in the exchange of the oxygen and carbon dioxide. These are the parts. So first, we have nose. So itong nose, ang function niya is allows air to enter your body. So syempre itong ilong natin is daanan ito siya ng hangin. And the second one is yung mouth. So mouth also known as oral cavity, secondary external opening for the respiratory tract. So, itong mouth is considered natin siya as secondary external na pumapasok yung hangin sa ating katawan. So, the third one is the throat or the pharynx. The function of this is carries air, food, and fluid down from nose and mouth. So, itong pharynx or lalamunan, ito yung nagdadala ng hangin at pagkain, yung mga fluid na down sa ating respiratory system. At itong voice box or larynx, allows air to pass from the pharynx to the lungs. So ito yung ibig sabihin, yung itong larynx na to, is ito yung voice box. Kumbaga, ito yung nagbibigay ng tinig sa atin. Kumbaga, ito yung parts ng respiratory system na nagbibigay siya ng boses natin. That's why yung tao is nakapagsalita siya. And the windpipe, the trachea. So, carry air in and out of your lungs. So, itong trachea is ito siyang nagdadala ng hangin palabas at palabas at pailalim no sa ating lungs itong trachea. So, ibig sabihin ito ay isang para siyang dalawang way na kung saan lumalabas at pumapasok yung hangin sa ating katawan. And we have also heard is large airways or the bronchi. So, carries air to and in from your lungs. Ibig sabihin, isa ito siya sa kasi may dalawang may dalawang parang passageway siya na pumapasok sa ating ilong, which is the large airways, the bronchi, and the small airways is the bronchioles. And we have also the lungs. So the upper respiratory tract is made up of the nose, nasal cavity, sinuses, larynx, trachea. And the lower respiratory tract is made up of lungs, bronchi, and bronchioles, and the air sacs or the alveoli. So those are the different organs of the respiratory system. So now, let's move on to the third one. Define the parts of the internal nose and their function. So, ano yung mga iba't ibang parte no, ng ating ilong na kung saan nasa sa ilalim siya, no? Na kumbaga, merong mga parts sa ating respiratory system especially sa ilong. Pero itong mga specific parts kasi na tumutulong sa pagbibigay o pag-breathe no sa isang tao. So, first is the bone. The hard bridge at the top of your nose is made of bone. So, ibig sabihin, itong ilong natin, meron kasi siyang, ito yung nagbibigay ng, ilong siya, isa bone siya. No? Ito siya, yun sa atin, syempre, itong ilong natin is meron siyang bone. Actually, so ito yun siya parang tulay. Kumbaga, siya yung, yung passageway siya, no? Then, hair and cilia. So, itong hair and cilia, is a tiny hair-like structures inside of your nose, trap dirt and particles. Then they move those particles toward your nostrils where they can be sneezed out or wiped away. So itong hair and cilia, kung dito sa ilalim ng ilong nyo, di ba merong mga merong mga buhok, kumbaga. Ito yung tumutulong sa atin para mag-trap yung mga dumi at particles na hindi natin madadala sa ating katawan. So ito especially ito yung tumutulong ito din no na para makapagdalo yung hangin ng properly na hindi kuan yung mga dirt no sa ating katawan para hindi pumasok sa ating katawan. And we have also one lateral walls or the outer walls. The outer walls of your nose and made of the cartilage and covered in skin. The walls from your nasal cavities and your nostrils. So itong lateral walls, specifically, sinasabi dito yung parte talaga ng isang ilong, no? Parte talaga ng isang ilong na kung saan pinoprotektahan ang inner part sa ating ilong. So yun ang lateral walls. And we have also a nasal cavities. So your nose has two nasal cavities, hollow spaces where air flows in and out. They are lined with mucous membrane. So itong nasal cavities, merong two nasal cavities siya So merong external nose and meron din siyang adjacent scalp. So itong nasal cavities ay tumutulong ito siya no na kung saan yung dumadalo yung hangin no na na-inline siya sa mucous membrane. So yun yung nasal cavities. So you have also a nerve cell. Itong nerve cell cells communicate with your brain to provide a sense of smell. So itong nerve cell, tumutulong ito siya na kung saan communicate sa ating utak na nagbibigay ng sense na humihinga ka o sumisimot ka. That's why yung isang tao is nakakapag-smell siya. So that's nerve cells. So another one is nostrils or nares. These are the openings of the nasal cavities that are on the face. So itong nostrils, dito sa ating ilong, di ba may circle na dito nga part is yung round siya? Dito round na siya. So itong round na to is, ito ang tinatawag na nostrils. And we have also the septum. The septum is made of bone and firm cartilages. It runs down to the center of your nose and separate the two nasal cavities. So itong septum, merong is parang ito yung daanan na kumbaga dalawang passageway na pinaghihiwalay ang dalawang nasal cavities para daluyan siya. So pinaghihiwalay siya ng dalawang nasal cavities. Ito yung septum. And the cynosis naman, you have 4 pairs of cynosis. These air-filled pockets are connected to your nasal cavities. They produce the mucus that keeps your nose moist. So itong cynosis naman, meron itong 4 parts. So ang first dito is the frontal cynosis, and the sphenoid cynosis, and the third one, ethmoid air cells, and the fourth one is maxillary cynosis. Cynosis. So, ibig sabihin, itong different parts ng cynosis is tumutulong ito siya na nagkukonekta din sa nasal cavities natin para makapag-produce ng mucus, no? Para yung ilong natin is magiging moist siya. No, kumbaga, maging smooth siya. Yun yung function ng cynosis. And the turbinates or the conchae, there are 3 parts of turbinates located along the side of the both nasal cavities. These fold inside your nose, help warm and moisten air after you breathe it and help with nasal cavities. No? So itong turbinate naman ay nakakatulong ito sa ating ilong para makapagbibigay ng hangin para hindi mahirapang huminga. So ito yung pinaka main function, no, ng sa isang turbinates or conchae sa ating ilong. So ito ang different parts of the internal nose under function. So let's move on for the fourth content. So for the fourth content, name the 3 areas of the pharynx and explain their anatomy. So there are 3 there are 3 areas of the pharynx, which includes nasopharynx, and the second one oropharynx, and the laryngopharynx or the hypopharynx. So itong nasopharynx, the top part of the throat connects the nasal cavities or the nose and let air pass through. So itong nasopharynx, sa madaling salita, part ito siya sa ating nose, part ito sa ating respiratory system rather, na kung saan kumo-connect, no, sa itaas na bahagi na kumukonekta sa ating nasal cavities na dito siya sa ilong, dito siya sa ating ilong, kumukonekta, dumadaan, let air pass through sa ating katawan. So itong nasopharynx, isa ito na kumukonect sa ating nasal cavities na ilong siya dumadaan, no? Dumadaan siya sa ilong patungo sa ating katawan. Ito namang oropharynx, the middle part, so nasa sa gitna siya, connects the oral cavity, the mouth. It allows air, food, and fluid to pass through. So ito namang oropharynx, nasa middle part siya na kumukonect siya sa ating oral cavity na kung saan sa bibig siya dumadaan. So sa bibig siya dumadaan at allows air, no, yung hangin pumapasok, yung pagkain, yung mga fluid na pinapasok natin sa ating katawan. That's why mako-consider natin siya na oropharynx siya, no? Basta sa bibig siya dumadaan. And the third one, the laryngopharynx or the hypopharynx, at the bottom part of the throat is near the larynx or the voice bag. This regulates the passage of the air to the lungs and food fluid to the esophagus. So ito yung kumbaga, ito yung mga parts ng pharynx na kung saan makikita natin siya. So example dito sa illustration na ito. So for an example, dito sa picture na ito. So ito yung part na larynx and pharynx na. So makikita rin dito yung nasal cavity. So part na ito yung nasal cavity. Then nalukit dito yung blue one is ito yung nasa pharynx, diba? Sa itaas siya, dito siya, sa itaas siya. So sa top. At the same time, itong oropharynx, bibig siya, dumadaan, right? Diba? Nakikita natin sa bibig siya. Itong green na to. Ito yung oropharynx. And the last one is the hypopharynx, no? Ibig sabihin, nasa lower part siya. Na kumbaga, makita natin siya na dumadalo siya until they reach the esophagus. So, yan ang asas ng three areas ng pharynx. Na sa ngayon, ay makikita natin kung paano niya na-handle yung pagdaloy ng hangin sa isang ilong patungo sa ating katawan. So the pharynx also contains tonsils. There are the three sets of the tonsils that are located at the back of the throat and base of the tongue. Tonsils are the body's first defense against infection. We have also the auditory, the eustachian tubes. These tubes connects the ears to the throat, and they equalized pressure and help drain fluid. So those are the different areas of pharynx and their function. So next is we have here the fifth content that name the cartilages and membranes of the larynx and how they function. So the main cartilages of the larynx are, first we have the thyroid cartilage. So itong thyroid cartilage, it is the one that makes the well-known the Adam's apple due to the laryngeal prominence that is made because of the fossa laminae. The cartilaginous superior and inferior horns are created by the projection of the posterior, superior, and inferior borders of the cartilages, respectively. The thyroid membrane connects the entire superior aspect of the cartilages to the hyoid bone. So, ibig sabihin, itong thyroid cartilage, isa itong protective shield, no? Na kumbaga, pinoprotektahan ito, no? Pinoprotektahan niya ang isang entire superior, no, sa ating lalamunan, no, sa ating lalamunan kasi isa ito yung isa ito sa mga nakakatulong when it comes to nagbibigay ng boses, no. It was na kung saan makakapag-produce ng sounds yung isang tao. And we have also here the epiglottic cartilage, which is also known as the epiglottis, or simply the glottis is an elastic cartilage which look like a leaf, no, para siyang dahon. When an oral content are swallowed, it and function by closing over the laryngeal inlet. And they have also the cricoid cartilage. This is the shape like a signet ring, which with the signet shape lamina facing posteriorly. It is a complete circle and is attached superiorly by the median cricothyroid ligament to the inferior aspect of the thyroid cartilage. And we have also the arteroid cartilage are the only major cartilages to be paired. Since the corniculate and cuneiform cartilages are seen to be the minor cartilages, they are the pyramidal in shape and have 3 bases. So, ito kasing arytenoid cartilage, isa ito siya is, excuse me, tumutulong na kung saan gumagalaw ang isang vocal, no, na para ma-fold yung isang tension, no, na kumbaga nagbibigay siya ng relaxation and approximation sa isang lalamunan. So that's why, or sa voice box, no, na kumbaga ito kasi is especially itong arytenoid cartilages, isa ito siya sa nagbibigay ng isang pyramidal shape na kung saan merong mga important rule na ibinibigay in order to para makapag-produce ng sounds. And the last one we have here, the chroniculate and cuneiform cartilages. Excuse me. These minor paired elastic cartilages are seen as the nodules in the posterior aripiglotic folds. The corniculate cartilages attach themselves to the apex of the arytenoid cartilages where the aripiglotic fold insert. That is how the nodal shape in fold is made. Itong corniculate and cuneiform cartilages, kinukombine siya, which is, ang corniculate siya is an anchor for the superior and infraoid strap sa muscles. At ito namang cuneiform is sumusuporta siya sa vocal folds and lateral aspects sa isang epiglottis. Na kumbaga, itong dalawa na to is nagsama siya, which is nagproduce din siya ng sounds. Na kumbaga, ito yung isa din sa mga pinaka important cartilages ng larynx. So itong lahat na to, the main part sa larynx is ito yung pinaka nagbibigay talaga ng para makapagbibigay ng tinig, or ito yung voice box kumbaga, na kung saan merong mga some parts na nakakatulong siya sa ating pagbibigay ng sounds, no? Kumbaga, ito yung mga some. So, for an example, ito yung example ng thyroid cartilage. Ito yung ng thyroid cartilage. V-shape siya, in cross section, merong laminae na kung saan para siyang skull. So, ito makikita yung dalawang thyroid cartilage sa ating lalamunan. Sa ating lalamunan to siya, related to siya sa ating lalamunan. And we have also the epiglottic cartilage. Ito yung epiglottis natin, na kung saan meron siyang anterior epiglottis, merong posterior. Ito siya, yun yung sinasabi kanina, parang dahon siya. Ito yun siya, diba? Sa epiglottic, term. Meron ding right thyroid lamina at meron ding sounds dito na cricoid at trachea. So ito din is makikita din ito siya sa respiratory system related sa ating lalamunan. And we have also here the cricoid cartilage. It's ito, yun siya, na kumbaga nagkukunek siya, no? Nagkukunek siya in order to produce, no, makapagbigay siya ng sounds, no, sa isang tao. And this one also, meron tayong arytenoid cartilage ito na ito din siya, para siyang air, na kumbaga meron siya, para siyang buto din siya, i-identify mo. Ito yung arytenoid cartilage. At the last one, ito yung corniculate at cuneiform cartilages, no. Na same lang din sila arytenoid na cartilages. So ito dito na part is ito siya yung cuneiform cartilage with ito yung cuneiform, at ito rin yung corniculate. Parang lang siya, sabay na sila sa pagbibigay. So yun ang mga iba't ibang cartilages at membrane sa larynx at their function. So next one, we have here the membranes of the larynx. So the membranes of the larynx, we have first the extrinsic membranes, connects the laryngeal apparatus with adjacent structures for support. So ito yung isa sa part ng function ng extrinsic, is nagko-connect siya sa laryngeal apparatuses, no, sa isang structures. At meron ding thyroid thyroid membrane is an unpaired fibroelastic sheet which connects the inferior surface of the thyroid bone with the superior border of the thyroid cartilages. The thyroid membrane has an opening in its lateral aspect to admit the internal laryngeal nerve and artery. So we have here the cricotracheal membrane. The cricotracheal membrane connects the most superior tracheal cartilage with the inferior borders of the cricoid cartilage. And we have also intrinsic membranes connects the laryngeal cartilages with each other to regulate movement. There are two intrinsic membranes, the cuneus elasticus and the quadrate membranes. And the last one, we have here the quadrangular membranes. Connects the epiglottis, the arytenoid, and the thyroid cartilage. So, kung makikita natin, meron din akong illustration dito, meron din akong example dito, no? Meron akong example ng extrinsic membrane. So, ito yung extrinsic membranes na kung saan part na ito is may mga some parts no, na makikita natin. Blurred lang siya. At this one, meron din dito ang thyroid membrane na kung saan meron siyang mga some parts. Ito dito, ito yung thyroid membrane. Ito siya, meron ding median thyroid ligament. So, meron siyang mga some parts na kung saan natin siya makikita. And this one also, the tracheal membrane. So, ito din siya, ang parts niya. Meron din siyang mga some parts. And the intrinsic membranes, ito yung intrinsic membranes na makikita natin na illustration. At the last one, yung quadrangular. Itong quadrangular, ito yung quadrangular na membrane. So, natin siya makikita sa part na ito. Ito sa part na ito. So, those are the different membrane of the larynx. Yun ang mga iba't ibang membrane sa larynx. So first, we have extrinsic membranes, we have thyroid membranes, and the cricotracheal membranes, and meron tayong intrinsic membranes, we have also the quadrangular membranes. And the next one, the explanation how the anatomy of the trachea prevents collapse during breathing and allows the esophageal expansion during swallowing. So the trachea, commonly called the windpipe, it is the main airway to the lungs. It divides into the right and left bronchi at the level of the fifth thoracic vertebra, channeling air the right or left lung. The hyaline cartilage in the tracheal walls provides support and keep the trachea from collapsing. The posterior soft tissues allow for expansion of the esophagus, which is immediately posterior to the trachea. So the mucous membrane that lines the trachea is ciliated. The pseudostaphyte columnar epithelium similar to that in the nasal cavity and nasophag. So the goblet cells produce mucus that traps airborne particles and microorganisms, and that cilia propel the mucus upward where it is either swallowed or expelled. So, explain ko sa inyo is, visualize ko sa inyo kung paano ang isang anatomy na trachea magpe-prevent siya ng collapse during breathing and swallow allows the esophagus expansion during swallow. Di ba tayo di ba especially yung mga taong is di ba may mga taong mahirap di ko ba merong mga tao kasi na mahirap humihinga sila na kumbaga merong mga times na di ba kapag tumutulong tayo sa isang tao na nahirap na humihinga is may nilalagay tayo na pinopush natin yung dibdib nila na para makapagpahinga sila. That's why para makapag-prevent is meron tayong merong mga binibigay na medicine na itinitake niya para sa ganun ma-reduce or para mabawas-bawasan yung sakit na ninadanas siya. No? Especially yung esophageal dysfunction during sa swallowing. 'Di ba tayo 'di ba na-try na natin na kumain, tapos 'di ba like nakapag suddenly nakain natin yung mainit na pagkain, 'di ba kapag na-swallow natin siya is sobrang sakit if ever kung na-try ninyo siya. Sobrang sakit na parang sinusuntok yung dibdib niyo because I'll try na naka-try ako sa ganun. So sa ganyang paraan kasi yung tissue sa ating katawan dito sa esophagus is very smooth siya, no? Na kumbaga, merong mga parts dito sa ating lalamunan na very sensitive siya. That's why makakaranas tayo ng parang sumasakit yung dibdib natin kapag nakakain tayo ng mainit na na-swallowed natin. That's why isa rin yun sa pag ano siya sa isang sa isang dito sa ating sa respiratory system natin. That's why in order to para ma-prevent natin 'yan, dapat natin na sikapin no na malinis always for visit for check up for medication para naman sa ganun is maiwasan natin ang mga ganong mga sitwasyon at gaya naman kung kapag tayo nakakain ng mga pagkain na sinuswallow natin na nakakapagsira or nakaka-damage nating ating esophagus, dapat prevent natin yan in order to para maiwasan natin yung mga illness na mararanasan natin, especially sa ating respiratory system. And the seventh one, explain what is meant by the term bronchial tree. Itong bronchial tree, the collective term bronchial tree refers to the bronchi and all other subsequent branches. The bronchi are the airways of the lower respiratory system. Respiratory system tract at the level of the third and or fourth thoracic vertebra. The trachea bifurcates into the left and right main bronchi, and the right main bronchus is shorter and more vertical in direction than the left. Both of these bronchi continues to divide into secondary or labor bronchi that bifurcate farther and farther in order to sufficiently spread the respiratory air completely into the left and right pulmonary loops. The terminal segment of each bronchus contains the millions of alveoli, the site of gas exchange. So itong bronchial tree, meron akong illustration dito Itong bronchial tree, ito yung bronchial tree na illustration na kung saan ma-identify natin siya ano yung mga some parts. Itong bronchial tree, sa sa itaas, merong larynx, and dito sa gitna, merong trachea, then right main, the primary bronchus, and the left main primary bronchus and bronchiole and the tertiary bronchus. Matatawag natin siya na bronchial tree is para talaga siyang puno no na meron siyang mga roots or mga ugat dito sa ibaba at ito siya ay pataas. Ito yung bronchial tree, makikita natin siya sa ating lalamunan dito sa ating lalamunan na part. Dito sa ating part na kung saan merong part dito sa bronchial tree na dumadaan dito yung sa larynx sa ating voice box, tapos sa kaya yung windpipe na kung saan dumadaan yung hangin at nag-passageway siya na kung saan dumadaan siya sa left and right passage na kung saan parang nabubuwag silang dalawa merong left, meron ding right na daanan. So yun ang bronchial tree. So in a simplest term, an bronchial tree, it is a tree that modifies how the air's passage through in our respiratory system. So yun yung pinaka basic function or basic explanation sa bronchial tree. And the eighth one, describe the structures and the function of the lungs. So, the structure and function of the lungs is the primary function of the lungs is to exchange of gases between the body and environment. The lungs contains a series of narrowing passageways that terminate into tiny sacs called alveoli. During respiration, oxygen enters the lungs by diffusion through the capillaries surrounding each alveolar sac. Similarly, when the carbon dioxide diffuses out of the blood into the alveolar sacs, the contraction of the chest muscles and diaphragm constrict the alveoli, forcing about 0.5 liter of air out of the lungs. So yun ang main function or the primary function sa lungs is to exchange gases between the body and the environment. So yun yung pinaka-focus no na nagdi-describe sa lungs na kung saan nag-exchange siya ng gases no between body and environment. That's why meron siyang cycle na kumbaga merong kinakain natin, dinidispose natin, no? Meron din sa para sa environment siya. Inhale natin, nakakapagdaan ng oxygen. Meron din ini-exhale natin. Meron din mga bad na air, mga bad na sa ating respiratory system. So the structure of and function of the flora. So flora is a vital part of the respiratory tract. Roost is a fusions to the lungs and reduce any friction which develops between the lungs, rib cage, and chest cavity. So, the structure of the flora is essential to the respiration, providing the lungs with the lubrication and cushioning need to inhale and exhale. The intrapleural space contains roughly 4 cubic centimeters, whereas 5 cubic centimeters of the pleural fluid, which reduces friction whatever the lungs expand or contracts. So because of the flora is self-contained, it is helped to prevent the spread of infection to and from the lungs. So ang pinaka-main function ng flora is tumutulong ito para ma-prevent yung mga some infections no sa ating lungs no. Na kung saan merong some parts na hindi siya properly function, ito yung flora na nagpre-prevent siya para naman makakatulong yung pag-function niya para ma-prevent niya ang some infections sa ating lungs. So yun yung pinaka-main function ng flora. And the next one, we have here describe the overall process of the gas exchange in the lungs and tissues. So during gas exchange, oxygen moves from the lungs to the bloodstreams. At the same time, the carbon dioxide passes through the blood to the lungs. This happens in the lungs between the alveoli and a network of tiny blood vessels called capillaries, which is located in the walls of the alveoli. The lungs and respiratory systems allow us to breathe. Tiny bring oxygen into our bodies called inspiration or inhalation and send carbon dioxide out called expiration or exhalation. This exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide is called respiration. So ang process ng pag-exchange ng gases no sa lungs and tissue is tinatawag siya na respiration. Yung in-inhale natin at in-exhale natin ang isang oxygen. Ang tinatawag na process na iyon is respiration. And the last one, define the ventilation, external respiration, and internal respiration. So the ventilation or breathing, ito yung process sa paghinga. It is the movement of the air through the conducting passage between the atmosphere and the lungs. The air moves through the passage because of the pressure gradients that are produced by the contraction of the diaphragm and the thoracic muscles. So yung ventilation is a movement no sa ating paghinga, kung paano tayo nakakapaghinga. Yun ang ventilation. It is a process, no? It's a movement, no? Movement ng hangin na kung saan between the atmosphere and the lungs, no? Na nakukuha natin no sa ating patungo sa ating katawan. Ito naman external respiration, also known as breathing then. It is involved both bringing air into the lungs or inhalation and releasing air to the atmosphere exhalation. Ang nakakapag-iba lang dito sa ventilation and external respiration, itong ventilation is, di ba humihinga tayo, no? Na dumadaan yung hangin na kung saan sa atmosphere at sa lungs, no? Na related silang dalawa. Ito naman sa external respiration. Breathing, and humihinga din siya, breathing, which involve sa lungs, the inhalation at releasing air to the atmosphere, the exhalation. Na kumbaga, meron silang hindi pagkakatulad sa ganitong sitwasyon. So, mas nauna ang lungs na nag-i-inhale siya, kumbaga sa atmosphere na exhalation siya. So, kumbaga, meron silang mga, kumbaga sa ventilation, pareho silang dalawa na between sa kanila na atmosphere at lungs, at dito naman sa external nauna yung lungs kaysa atmosphere. Then the last one is the internal respiration. Oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged between the cells and the blood vessels. So during sa internal respiration, ang carbon dioxide at ay nag-exchange between sa cells and sa blood vessels. So in the furthermore, itong process na ito is tumutulong sa paghinga sa isang tao, especially as sa respiratory system. That's why mayroong mga process na pinaka-importante talaga na dapat nating malaman kung paano tayo nakakapaghinga sa isang tao, sa isang bagay. So, that's all about my report for today's presentation. I hope you learned a lot about my discussion for today, even it is short, but it is precise also. So these are the different references where I can access all of my reports, or where I can access the different topic that I discussed this day. So that's it. I am Mr. Rodgie Optional. Thank you so much for watching and have a nice day to everyone. Bye-bye.